if you're really tired of having cakey, gross makeup that's like sliding everywhere, that's flaking off, I've made this video especially for you. Just a step-by-step, really basic video that will go over everything from skin prep to laying down your foundation to putting in your concealer and the rest of the fun stuff, so that makeup application doesn't have to be super stressful. It can be more relaxing and a lot more fun, where you can get an enjoyable look and not feel that you're looking crazy. Skin prep is really important. You've probably heard this like a ton of times, but it really does make a difference. Specifically, K-Beauty does a really great job because pretty much the vast majority of their products focus on moisture. So I'm going to start off with actually Torden's lip essence, and that's just going to get my lips hydrated for the next step. Abib's Heart Leaf spot pads, because I really like these. And it's calming. So this formula in particular, the green jar, is for like acne, sensitive skin, and I think that's just gonna start everything nice. So you'd probably want to wash your face with like a nice gentle cleanser to start, nothing too abrasive, nothing that's going to upset your skin, and just start off with some moisturizing, soothing pads. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to leave this on just for a couple of minutes. Unfortunately, you do have to be a little bit patient when it comes to the prep purpose if you really want to have your makeup last for a long time and to feel hydrated and not like gross. So I'm going to leave this on, kind of let it sink in for a bit, and then move on with the skincare steps. So that's what you're going to notice. Layer, patience. Layer, patience. So I've let it sit for like a minute or so, and I'm just going to take the rest of the essence from the pads I should say, and just kind of lightly spread it around my face and just pat in all that excess. So I already got a layer of hydration. It's like DIY it, and you can grab like a pack of just, you know, cotton and cotton swabs, and just use your regular toner. Just kind of dip it in and then just place around the face in areas that you notice that there's like patchiness and dryness if you want. But I really like these pads. So that's my first layer of hydration. And then what I'm going to go in with is a hydrating toner, which I think really does help in keeping that moisture in the face. The vegan Kombucha tea essence from Dr. Ceuracle, and I love it so much. It's a nice milky creamy formula, and I think it would be suitable for most skin types. I think if you're focusing on hydration in general, I think most skin types would benefit from hydration. I don't think there's any skin type that wouldn't need some level of hydration. So I just get a little bit and I just pour into my hand. I rub in, not so much that it's like spilling all over the place, and then I pat in. Just pat in that moisture. You should really feel like there's a little bit of a bounce to your skin, and you'll feel it as you tap along. Another good thing for prep is around the eyes, especially as you get older, especially as you're getting a little drier. The skin around the eyes is really thin, and what I really love using is like a glycerin based type eye cream. This is more of like an eye gel eye serum from Isntree, and I've used this in so many of my videos. And you don't need that much, probably about that, and you just kind of gently pat onto your index fingers and then just lightly tap underneath the skin of the eyes, looking up. Especially if it's like glycerin based, it's like a type of ingredient, a humectant that draws moisture into the skin, and then anything that's like water based in it, it will like drink up as well, will really help. Last step in skincare prep is always sunscreen, and I'm going to be using Artless Glow Base. This is from Heimish. This is a K-Beauty brand as well, and I'm just going to lightly place in the areas that I need. And absolutely, as I said, you are free to put as many as much as you want. And I'm just going to take my time and I'm just going to smooth this in. I love this cream because it has a little bit of a luminescence in it and it's moisturizing. And it actually works really well as a makeup base. I am going to use a primer. It's entirely up to you if you want to use primer or not, but if you're looking for longevity for your foundation, in addition for it to not look crazy on the skin, it does help using a primer. And you just go by your skin type. If you're someone that's a little bit more oily and you want something oil controlling, then you'd aim obviously for an oil controlling primer. If you're someone that's a little bit drier, then you'd obviously aim for a water-based, more dewy primer that's going to give you even more additional hydration on top of everything else that you've placed. I'm combo skin and I definitely get oily throughout the day, especially if I have makeup on, so I have let the skin prep kind of do its thing, and now I'm going to go in with the makeup. So remember how I mentioned that I'm kind of combo skin, have oily spots, and definitely break out during the day? Using a more water-based but mattifying primer will help you a lot. What I'm holding is Danessa Myrick's Water Powder Serum. Now this is a little bit heftier in price, but I actually think Danessa Myrick's products are worth it. And I'm going to aim to use this primer specifically around my T-zone. You typically need just a few drops. And then what you'll do is just kind of pat. And I'm going to aim, as I said, around my T-zone. So I'm going to just circle that, warm that up a little bit. And I'm just going to aim that in my T-zone. I've given this primer time to sit. Now I'm going to go in with my foundation first. I like to do foundation before concealer because at least I get a general idea of how much coverage I've gotten, and I can always spot correct after the fact. Some will say do concealer before. Totally your jazz, whatever you like. I'm going to use Maybelline's Super Stay Foundation for this. This is like a Lumi Matte, they describe it as, formulation. Whatever formula works for you, have at it. But I think the main idea you're thinking of is less is more. So I'm going to control the amount that I use by using a makeup tint to start off with, getting some of this foundation, and just putting and then I'm going to start off with actually my fingers first, and I'm just going to lightly put just a teensy bit on the back of my hand, just kind of spread it out a bit so I'm aware of just how much I've got and that I can control it better. My finger, I'm just going to lightly work on one side. This is a pretty fast setting formula too, so in my humble opinion, it will work better if you work in sections. So I'm just taking my finger and I'm just gently gliding. And then I'm going to use a really small, flat foundation brush. This is the Wakemake foundation brush. And then gently spread. So I'm going from center to out. I'm using the least amount of product on my forehead, and I'm trying to avoid the eye area. The less makeup under the eye, less likely you are to crease. And I'm just going to keep doing that and then smoothing with the foundation brush and do the exact same thing on my other side. As you can see, I put a pretty even thin layer of foundation. So I have pretty much a smooth canvas. I'm not looking oily, greasy. I'm not looking parched or dry. And if you want to take like a clean foundation brush and then just gently smooth over your face, you can do that as well. And then that is pretty much your first layer. Now, if you're having a lot of discoloration and you're having a lot of like acne, scarring and stuff like that, I don't have that much. I do have dark under eyes, but I just have little discoloration here and there. You just go in now with like Pinpoint Concealing. Lisa Eldridge is the makeup artist that I've always heard refer to the concealing technique as Pinpoint Concealing, which is just taking concealer and then just putting it right where you have the discoloration, peeking through, just so that everything is an even base. So I'm gonna do a little bit of Pinpoint Concealing with my Maybelline Fit Me concealer, just around a similar color as the foundation. And I'm just gonna gently place in the spots that I need. And I'm just gonna let that sit. Also gonna take my Maybelline Age Rewind Eraser. I didn't actually mean to use mostly Maybelline products, but for like drugstore, that's typically what I use. And I'm just gonna dot it a little bit under my eye, not just right on the under eye bags, just around and below the crease of my eyes. And then you just let concealer sit. So again, patience, layers and patience. So with the Pinpoint Concealing, you can take a concealer brush that's like a flat head. You can take one that's even smaller. I'm just using this one because this was the first one I could grab. And you're just gonna lightly pat. Just lightly pat. And then blend in nice and easy. Just want to get rid of the harsh edges. For my under eyes, I'm just going to lightly pat as well and just gradually bring up. But just using a soft angled concealer brush or any brush that can fit under the eye, that won't be too much. And then I'm just gonna kind of scrunch my eyes, and then if I see any flaking or anything crazy, I'm just gonna take my finger and lightly pat. Use products and techniques to help creasing, but there is a degree of it. That's just the nature of our skin around our eyes. But lightly warming your hands and just using the pads of your fingers and just gently pressing will help. And then that's how you do it. You let it take time to set, and then you just put in thin, gentle layers. I'm gonna go off camera, I'm gonna do the rest of my makeup, and I'm gonna show you how you finally set everything in place without looking crazy. So next, just take a little bit of setting powder. I'm gonna use Maybelline Fit Me, and I'm gonna get a little powder velour like this. Just gonna gently tap, get some product, and instead of just packing right onto the face, I'm gonna take to the back of my hand, get rid of the excess, and then just lightly pat in the areas that I need a little bit of that setting and extra coverage. So I'm just putting a tiniest amount under my eyes, bit into the areas that need that little setting. So T-zone for sure. So this is my finished look, and that's pretty much it. Thin layers, thin layers. Hydrate the skin, prep the skin beforehand, take your time and let things set. And throughout the day, natural oil will break through, and it's up to you if you want to retouch that. I think just using like a clean brush and every now and then just kind of gently smoothing together like the typical oily T-zone areas will help keep that makeup look fresh without it looking super cakey. The more that you pack on after the fact, the more so you're gonna get that cake effect, unless you're really into like super matte looks. The foundation type, totally up to you as well. I used a more matte, but it was a Lumi matte, so it's like a semi-matte finish, but the skin prep and all of that prevents it from looking outrageous, and then you just have your fun with color. So I hope this was helpful. Please let me know any suggestions that you might feel that can help along the way as well, help everybody else. And you know, let me know your thoughts, and I hope that you'll come back for another video because I have so much planned.